Again and again, I've been frustrated by the degree to which, partly just because she's been around a long time, people just do not give her credit. And part of it maybe is because she's a woman. And, we have not elected a woman president before.
All right, so by logic, then, when she was up, Hillary Clinton was up by 8 or 10 points in the polls, did we either not know she was a woman or we were more enlightened then? It just doesn't make sense to me, but I'm just a clueless guy. That's why I wanted to bring these very sharp women who could teach me a thing or two. Jehmu Greene, Democratic strategist. Sabrina Schaeffer joins us, Independent Women's Forum. And last but not least, Gina Loudon, radio talk show host, psychologist, and all that other stuff. So, Gina, begin with you. What do you make of that argument? We have a problem with women. That's why Hillary's in the fight of her life.
Wouldn't it be nice, Neil, if Mr. Obama would pay attention instead to what Martin Luther King said about judging people based on the content of their character rather than resorting to the constant identity politics? But you see, they can't go very deep on Hillary because 70% of Americans don't trust her. They certainly don't want us thinking about what's happening with the vote today regarding Saudi Arabia, because in Saudi Arabia, where they live by Sharia law, where Hillary Clinton took $25 million for her foundation, and they don't treat women or gays very well, so they don't want to talk about any of that. So that's why he's diverting with the tired topic of identity politics. All
right, so you seem not to agree with the president. Jehmu Greene, let me ask you, I look at a country, I think there could always be more women in Congress. We have better than 100 right now. There could be more women governors. We have 6 right now. There could be more Fortune 500 CEOs. We have a couple of dozen right now. But all of those numbers I cited seem to show a willingness on the part of Americans and in this country, period, to put women in position of power. So why is the president whining?
Well, Neil, the percentages of the numbers you just laid out, for example, the Fortune 500 CEOs, I think it's something like 5% are female. So to get away from kind of the label of sexism, I think it's better to just speak directly to the women in your audience who understand that guy at work who has no ideas, who interrupts you, who steals your ideas.
What do you mean they interrupt you? What do you mean by that?
Exactly. And gets the undeserved promotion. Or women out there who totally would understand that if Hillary Clinton had 5 children from 3 different men, she would not be the nominee of a major party.
You're ridiculous.
That's the reality.
Ridiculous. You cannot believe the froth you just threw at me.
Absolutely.
Sabrina,
we didn't get the right to vote till 1920.
Right,
this was never going to be easy for the first woman to make this happen.
Sabrina, I will grant that the country is a little late in seeing the error of its ways. But more women are in Congress than ever before. More women are governors than ever before. Even with that low figure in percentage terms, if Jehmu is right, more women than ever are Fortune 500 CEOs. Sure, could all those numbers be higher? Absolutely. But doesn't it even demean women when you look at it in the context of we don't have a woman president today, or we give this one a tough time today? Simply because she's a woman, or might it be because it's this woman, or coming from this old administration?
Yes. Yeah. No, I think what's most offensive about the president's remarks is that it presumes that the American voter is tremendously shallow and backwardly sexist. And I would think that a lot of Americans would be put off by that. The reality is that the progressive feminist movement has been touting this line for years and years and years, and that the Hillary Clinton's campaign herself, since the day she launched, has been pushing this narrative that she will be swimming upstream against this sexist current. And the reality is that all sorts of research now, and we know that academia is not sort of a bastion of conservative thought, but a lot of academic research now is showing that this is simply not the case, that when across all sorts of elections across the country, that the media treats women just as fairly as men, and that so do the voters.
Well, let me ask about that, Gina. Let me ask about that, Gina. A separate narrative is built since the debate with Donald Trump. That Donald Trump was rude, constantly interrupting Hillary Clinton, and sure enough, he interrupted her 4 more times than she did he. Now, many actually wrote extensively about this, including a piece in the New York Times, that was rude almost because it was being done to a woman. What did you make of that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't think 4 more times than she interrupted him is any number to even really have a conversation about, except that, of course, the media is going to jump to her defense. And you have to understand, Mr. Trump had to interrupt because the moderator was clearly working on the side of Hillary Clinton. And so Mr. Trump had to interrupt to get his points across. And I think that's a really important point to consider as well.
I don't know if Lester Holt was working for Hillary Clinton. I understand that he interrupted Donald Trump a lot more, but I'm only left wondering, Jehmu, and help me with this, that is there double standard here? That it's more offensive when a guy does it to a woman, not as much when a woman does it to a guy?
There certainly is a different standard, and I think what we should all aim for is to have the same standard judging Hillary Clinton as we judge Donald Trump. And there's extensive research that shows that when a woman, defies gender norms and is seen as competitive, is seen as self-promotional, is seen as assertive, that there's actually a backlash against her. And when they think that these are like stereotypical male attributes.
So has there been a backlash against all these women CEOs? Has there been a backlash against wait a minute. Has there been a backlash against the better than 100 women in Congress? And that backlash that you speak of, if it was so severe and pronounced, they wouldn't be where they are.
We're 50% of the population, Neil. We're certainly not 50% of Congress. We've never had a woman in the White House. So we've got a lot of work to do. It's quite frankly, it's un-American that we've never had a woman as a president.
This is absurd. I have to jump in here, Neil. I'm sorry. Look, I think that America, like lots of countries, has had its challenges, and that there's always ways that we can improve.
And
I have to acknowledge that parity is not the same thing as equality. And the reason that Hillary Clinton is having trouble in the polls is because she doesn't resonate with a lot of American women. Her policies would backfire on hardworking women and their families, and that's the bottom line.
Maybe it's because
Trump is the one who has a problem with women in the polls. Donald Trump is the one who has a problem with women in the polls.
We're not talking about Trump right now. We're talking about Clinton.
Stop, pretty please. All right. By the way, I'm outraged that we've not yet elected an Italian-American president of the United States.
Well,
that's right.
Look at the numbers.
Put your hat in the ring, Neil.
Neil for president.
All right, there we go. Guys, thank you very, very much. Good, friendly, feisty debate there, and I got home, there's going to be a pan on my head. All right, we've got Donald Trump in